Welcome back to the channel. Thank you, current subscribers. Newcomers, go ahead and push that red subscribe button and join the family. Well, as you can see, we're about to cook something. We enjoyed that one of the last meals I made with the pesto sauce in it so much that this time I'm going to try my hands with some fusilli and make a similar recipe using the fusilli noodles. So we're going to go ahead and get right into this. We'll go ahead and put some water in this pan. Fill out at least halfway. Just depends on how much you're going to cook, how many people you're going to cook for. And then we're going to put this fusilli in and get it on the stove. Get this fusilli opened up and get it in the pot. Okay, I'm pouring at least half of this. Let's look at that. Is that going to be enough? We're going to go ahead and use the whole thing. So we use one full package of this. Okay, and we're going to get this to a boil. While we're waiting on those noodles, we're going to go ahead and get some of these vegetables cut up. Of course, you know my good friend the onion is in it. Love onions. Okay. Now, how you cut them up is just mainly preference. I'm going to have some bigger items in the pasta mix. So if you don't want to cut them very small, it'll be okay. Yeah, let's go ahead and get rid of all this skin. Okay. Let's go ahead and get that onion cut up. And I think what I'm going to do is just how you see me doing here, slicing this. I think that's how I'm going to let that onion be. Just do thin slices. As thin as you can get them, be nice. Yeah. And I went ahead and used the whole bag of that fusilli. So I think this might be enough. And then when you're putting it in there, you just want to make sure you're breaking those up. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and get those in my bowl and start on the next vegetable that we need to do. Okay. We're going to go ahead and do these tomatoes. Now, you can use canned crushed tomatoes if you like. It's just, up to you. But I'm going to go ahead and use these 2 tomatoes. I don't necessarily want it to have a saucy sauce, you know what I mean, like a runny sauce. I just want all of the vegetables and the noodles to be flavored with the pesto and the other ingredients that are in it, but not necessarily like a traditional type pasta dish where you have like a liquefied sauce all over everything. This one's a little bit different. Okay. But you got to make it your own. So if you decide you want a saucy sauce, hey, have at it and let me know how it turns out. Because, we're always looking for something new to eat. That's what makes cooking so much fun, is experimenting and having new recipes and new ideas to try. Okay. And you're going to dice up the other one the same way we diced up this one. You can also opt to use the little cherry tomatoes. And I just take those and just one slice and split those in half and use them. All right, we got the green pepper. This is the zucchini. I don't know my vegetables now. So you're going to cut those ends off. And then once you cut those ends off, you can decide how you want to cut them. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go long ways. Yeah, I'm just going to go long ways. And then flatten them out. And then here, yeah, we're going to make them like strips. in those strips. Let's make them like kind of a rectangular shape. Something different, something to liven it up. Okay. I'll get this one cut. Okay. We're going to cut that other one up and work on those mushrooms. 6 really large of the brown button mushrooms. We're going to go wash these off real quick and bring them back and cut them up. All right, got these washed off really nicely. And we're going to just start slicing on these. Ooh, these are so pretty. Really like these. Yes, really nice. Oh, they're beautiful. Okay, if you find that they're a little big, you can always cut them some more. Just depends on, your own preference, what size pieces you want in there. And those will be, yeah, I think those size pieces are nice. Then there'll be comparable pieces to the Fusilli. Yeah. Okay. So cut these. Turn them. There we go. Those are beautiful. That's lovely. After seeing how much they're making, which you do know that mushrooms have a lot of water in them, so they will kind of cook down. So don't be alarmed. Okay, that looks beautiful. Yeah, those are quite lovely. Okay, finish cutting these and we'll put those in the cut up vegetable bowl. So we're going to cut up, next we're going to cut up these impossible meatballs. Go ahead and get this open. Pull this open. And get those going. Having a little trouble with the bag. I want to be careful because it is a resealable bag. And it's nice to be able to reuse it when you don't use all of the meatballs. I don't think we need them all, but just in case, I'll have it on standby. Okay. So you're just going to take these and you're just going to cut them. And it's whatever your preference is. I cut them in half and then in 4s. It's just up to you. Okay. I'm just going to go through and cut all of those like that. It's in 4s. We're going to pop this in the bowl of the rest of the vegetables and things that's already been cut up. Okay, that fusilli is at a boil. You just want to reach in there and make sure those noodles are tender. Yep, and those are done. So we're going to set those aside until we're ready to use them. All of our things we had to cut up, I just put them in a nice bowl so I could make it easier for me to start sauteing everything as we're starting to put this together. Okay, and of course we're going to start out with our onions and get our pan on to get that oil hot. Okay, we're going to get some of our oil in the pan, and we're using that avocado oil. So we're going to put a little in the pan, and we're going to get this party started. About 2 tablespoons, no more. Okay, just waiting for that to heat up. We got our bowl of vegetables. We're just going to start with these onions. Yeah, it's not quite where it needs to be as far as the heat yet, but we're going to get it there. And we're just going to shovel in these onions. Those onions in there. We have a few of the other things drop in, so be it. We don't want too much water in there yet. We want to get those onions going. Once we get those onions, then we'll regulate what else we're putting in there. But for now, I'm just gonna get those onions going. Okay, come on now. Come on, heat. Come on up. I'll get those stirring around in there. You know, I just love cooking with onions. The smell just permeates through the house. It just, you know, something's good is about to happen when you smell that going on. All right, there we go. We got these onions cooking. Okay. Since that's coming up, I'm going to go ahead and dig in my bowl and add a little bit more to the mix. Now these, I did use some of the green red peppers and onions just to get a little bit of that red pepper in there. I had some, and you know me, I like to use what I got in the refrigerator. Okay, once we get that going, then we'll add the meat and start browning it before we start adding the other things. But I did want to show you something. Okay, this right here, this, you can add this to about anything. And I mean, when I say it's delicious, it adds a flavor and a little sweet that is just to die for. We are using that, and we're using those roasted red peppers by Mazzetta, and those are excellent too. Not going to add them quite yet, but I just wanted to throw that in there to remind you, if you're out shopping, you need to get some of those. You can never go wrong with those in your recipes. Okay, there we go. That's taking it up. There we go. Onions are turning colors. We're on track, people. Okay, at this point, we're going to throw some of these mushrooms in here. Got quite a bit. So you don't necessarily have to add them all at once, but if you do, you want to make sure you keep stirring that around, because you want some of that to get a burn on it and not to be necessarily soggy, but tender with flavor. Okay, remember that. Not soggy, tender with flavor. You know, that's what I'm trying to get to, tender with flavor. Okay. Now, at any point, you know, I'm an onion lover. But at any point, if you want to add some more onion, you can. Just be mindful, you don't want the onions to overtake it. Because you are going to add that pesto sauce, and you want that to be the prevalent flavor. But onion never hurt any dish. Okay, you see that? That's just beautiful. Look at that. And really and truly, if you don't want to use the alternative meat at this point, you don't have to, because the mushroom will substitute for that. I mean, it's good without it. It's just that I love the Impossible meatballs. I really do. You know, and with me, my vegan journey is not, you know, this week or that week. It's a lifetime. So when you're taking on a new life change, you have to have some little things in there that you eat just because you like them. You know. Kind of like when your mama used to make spaghetti. Sometimes she put the meatballs, sometimes she put the meat, sometimes she don't. You know, it just kind of depends on what you're having a taste for. Okay. Just keep stirring that, because like I said, we're trying to get some of that water out of that before we add the next ingredients that have some water to them. Okay. I'm debating on whether I'm going to add my meat or put a burn on it separately or not. We'll see. I'm thinking about putting a burn on it separately so we can really get a true burn. Because I think it might be a little bit too much moisture in this mixture to get the type of burn I want on my meat. So we're going to go ahead and add the rest of our water vegetables. That being the zucchini and the tomatoes. And we will just opt to do that meat separately, so I can put a proper, and you hear me, I said proper burn on it, okay? That's one of the key things to a lot of your dishes when you're cooking, whether it's vegan meat, regular meat, whatever kind, is taking out your meat and really getting a nice burn on it to bring that flavor out in it before you add it to whatever you're going to use it for, especially when you're making a one-dish meal or something like this. It makes all the difference. You know, I even found when I was making my omelet cake, if I take the sausage and the meats that I'm using out in advance and put a burn on them real good and then add them to it, I don't know, it takes that flavor up another level. So remember that when you're cooking anything that encompasses a meat or a meat substitute, either one, put that burn on that first before you add it to whatever mixture you're going to use it for, and you will see the difference. Okay, this right here, we got it to pretty much where we want it. We're going to just put a top on that and set it aside while we go on and get our meat and put a burn on it. Fresh pan, so we can go ahead and put a burn on our meat. We just added a little bit more of that avocado oil, and you can hear it. That pan is already nice and hot. So we're going to go ahead and get this meat put in there, or this vegan meat. I forget, it tastes so much like the real thing that I forget sometimes that it's not the real thing. Now if you got a couple of pieces of the other in there, it's not going to hurt. It's not going to keep it from going where you need it to go. Okay. There you go. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, this was a little frozen, so it'll take it a minute to really get into the groove of things. Yeah, there we go. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. And at this point, when you see how much meat you're working with, if you want to take the few that you have left and go ahead and throw them in there, go ahead and do that. Because I had a few that I had left, and I'm just going to go ahead and cut them and put them on in there too. And that's been playing with it, but I want to put them in there. And then maybe this time we'll get lucky and we'll have some leftovers, but I don't know, because whenever I cook something different that's really good, it doesn't stay around long to be a leftover. Okay? So I'm going to add some more of that. Last one to cut up. Yeah, oh, it's smelling so wonderful. I wish they had smell-o-vision. You know, they got television, but they need smell-o-vision. Wouldn't that be awesome? You could be at home and smell what I'm cooking. Boy. And then you know next after the smell-o-vision is going to be the taste-o-vision. Oh, yeah. See, that's what I'm talking about. You see that? How that meat is getting a nice burn on it? Oh, yes. Yes, 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 yes. I'm loving this. At this point, too, is where I'm going to add. We're adding some basil here. Okay. And, you know, don't be stingy. I'll open up the top on you and really put it on you. There you go. That's what I'm talking about. You're going to add a seasoning, add a seasoning. Just make sure the season that you're adding doesn't have a salt value to it, and you can go crazy. It's just that when you add those seasonings that have a salt value to it, you're going to have to watch it, because you don't want it to be too salty. That's the worst thing in the world, for your dish to turn out to be too salty. Then nobody can enjoy it. You know, and you want everybody to be, yes, this right here, this is perfect. This right here is just perfect, okay? Now we're going to go ahead and get this and add this to the other pan, and then add the last of our ingredients and be ready to eat. Okay, that pan is doing its thing. A lot of that water has cooked out. And we're just going to give it a few minutes to cook some more of that water out. Okay? Give it a few minutes. Because when I add that pesto, I want that to be the base of everything else that's going in there. And just to, You know what I mean? It just won't even be any words to describe it, okay? So, keep moving that around. Like I said, we're going to get that. See that? Coming up off that steam coming. That's that water coming out. And that's what we want. And get down to the real flavor when you get rid of that water. Yeah. Okay. That's just beautiful. Okay. Now I'm going to pop some of these sun-dried tomatoes in here. Oh, yes. Now, if they come out in big pieces, you can leave them that way or you can cut them up. But me, I love them, so any way they coming out, I'm getting them and I'm okay with it. I can use like 2 tablespoons of this and be okay with it. And then on top of that, once all the water is out, I will actually pour some of this juice off of this into here. You see that? I actually pour some of that in there. That's just beautiful. I'm telling you. Oh, now we gourmeting now. We do that, we really gourmeting, okay? And I'm telling you right now, that's gourmeting. Oh, it smells heavenly. Oh, yes, 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 yes. Yeah. Okay. Now here comes the roasted red peppers. And I'm taking probably 2 tablespoons. But with these, you see these? They're kind of long. I'm going to take these over here and chop these up just a little bit. And then I'm going to add them. The sun-dried tomatoes, I added them just like they were. But these, I wanted to cut these up just a little bit. Okay? And let me show them to you what I mean. See? I just had to cut those up a little bit. Yeah. Yeah, I cut those up just a little bit. Because we definitely want those to go in the mix. Yeah, keep it rolling. Just getting all that water out of there. Yeah, keep it rolling. Okay, once you get to the point where you think the water is where you want it to be, then you can add let's hold off on saying what we're going to add. We're going to still let that water come up out of there. Okay, I think it's time for me to start adding some of my pasta in. Yeah, I think I want to start adding some of that pasta in. Now, you take your pasta, you make sure you drain it really well. I want you to drain it really well. Because I want all that water off of it. You don't want to add any water to the juice because we've been trying to remove the water. So we definitely don't want to add some water and we're trying to remove it. Okay? We just poured that pasta into a bowl and rinsed it. Yeah. Pour that pasta into a bowl and rinse it. And then you're just going to shake it. But you want to try to get all that water off of there that you can. Actually, sometimes I will roll mine out on a towel and actually really dry it off. I mean, you do whatever works. Look at that. That's just beautiful. Okay, that's where we want it to be. We want to start adding that pasta now. I've got a giant straining spoon, one of these. I'm going to take and dip in here and just get out a spoonful. You see that? And I'm going to start adding it. There you go. You see that? Oh, yeah. That's what we're talking about. And you want to just start adding it. And keep adding it, okay? Give me another spoonful. And I want to add another spoonful. There we go. Come on, keep adding that. Yep. Keep right on adding that. And you can never cook too much pasta because whatever you got left over, You can put that in a Ziploc. You can freeze it, or just put it back in the refrigerator in case you might use it the next day. Then you've already got some fusilli that you can use for something else. Now, if that looks like enough for you, then you can hold off. Okay, and right now, I'm going to hold off because I'm thinking that might be where I want it to be. And I'm going to add, turn this down a little bit. You know, I keep it on high. That's why if you're cooking with me, you better be watching your food because I like to keep it high. But when you keep it high, you got to be paying attention. You can't go away from it. You know, oh, oops, then you're going to mess something up. But I like to keep it high because a lot of the vegetables I use have a lot of water, and I want that water out of there. As long as you're continually stirring it, you can keep it up high. But if you're going to go away from it, anything, you make sure you turn that pot down or you scoot it off of there. Especially if you use electric like I am. Even when you turn it down, it takes a minute for it to turn down. We're going to go ahead. I've got some pesto sauce I'm going to use. It's already done for me in little pellets. So we're going to add those little pesto pellets to the bowl. So that's going to make my life easier. You can also buy pesto sauce already made up in a jar. I just had some that I froze and set aside for when I was going to need it. And it actually had tomatoes in it too when I froze it. So we're going to go ahead and use that because I don't like to waste anything. Okay, that's getting in there. And let's go ahead and start getting that mixed around. And you'll know when all that's melted because it'll start having that little green cast to it. Because it'll start getting in. Look at that. That's just beautiful. At this point, I mean, it's delicious at this point. Seriously. I mean, it really is. So if you opt out, because some of the vegan meat alternatives, they can get very pricey. Okay, so don't feel like you have to use those. But whenever I'm in and I got a little extra cash, it's kind of like when I was eating meat. When I have a little extra cash, I'm going to get me a rack of lamb. You know, so it's like one of those treat things, but don't be fooled. It's beautiful and delicious just like it is. I'm telling you. I mean, when I say delicious, I mean, you feel like you just went out to some gourmet restaurant and ordered the best thing on the menu. Yes. Look at that. That is beautiful. See what I mean? How it's getting that little green to it. There you go. Look at that. That is just beautiful. Now at this point is when we're going to add the meat that we put a burn on. Because we didn't want any of that meat to get washed out, you know, any flavor or anything from that meat to get washed out or anything by the water that we were trying to release from the dish. You see that? Oh, that is just beautiful. You see that? Let me get me a different kind of spoon. But hold on. Yeah. That right there is what I call lovely. Favorite spoon. I don't know what I've done with it, but I've done something with it and I'm not sure what, so I'm gonna have to figure out where it is. But see here? Okay, there you go. Look at that. I want you to just look at that. Oh, doesn't it make your mouth salivate? Oh, that right there is beautiful. Look at that. Beautiful, nutritious, and delicious. You see what I'm saying? That right there, beautiful. You can serve that and not even open your mouth and say vegan or anything. And I'm going to tell you, not one drop would be left. Okay, we're going to get some of this on the plate. Put this on the plate. And let's show you how beautiful this is. Look at this. Okay, we're going to pull this out. Oh, my goodness. I'm ready to eat even if I wasn't ready to eat. Just beautiful. Okay, now. Try that out. Tell me how you like it. Tell me what you added to make it your own. Yes, that is scrumptious. Yes, just delicious.